Welcome, everyone. I'm Zell, and we are here with Stassa 23 today for some
knife therapy. And I hope y'all are as glad as we are to be back. We missed not hanging out with y'all. We just the holidays and life. We really couldn't do it up until this point.
Yeah, that's right. Nick had all kinds of family over for Christmas. Of course, we had family around here. And then I had a knife release and some other things. I had some electronic failures around here, which, that's something I do want to talk about just a moment, Stassa. Those guys that, for me over on Patreon and the ones that hit that button, the deal, what do they call it?
The super chat.
The super chat deal. They really saved some things. I had some electronic failures a few weeks ago, and I was like, crap, what am I going to do about this? And I got to thinking about it and looked over in the account that money and people that view the channel, where that little bit of money every once in a while gets dropped in.
Yeah.
And there was enough to take care of the majority of the electronics problems. And,
that's awesome.
That's no kidding. It's awesome. And it's what it's all about, because I don't run the channel to make money on the channel at all. But it's nice that there is a little bit there whenever something goes wrong.
And no doubt. I mean, we're definitely not asking for any handouts, but when people appreciate what you're doing and they just want to, they don't realize that they're covering those expenses for us so we can keep the channel going.
That's right, man. And welcome in Woodland Tactical, Raphael and Tony Lee.
I'm pulling up my my thing so I can see the comments. I didn't have my thing pulled up, so you can go ahead.
Okay, guys. My camera is mounted precariously today. It's on a single arm, and it's bouncing around some. Nick's is also balanced precariously on a crazy tripod setup he's got. So hang out with, just ride it out with us.
Yep. And it's all about the knife guys just chatting.
That's right.
This is just some eye candy, and every now and again we'll show y'all if we're talking about something in particular.
Well, that's right. Well, there's one I want to start with, if it's all right with you, Stassa.
Oh,
and
of course.
You've got one too, because it was a huge surprise to me. And what I'm talking about is, Michael Gavick. I can't remember this, but this knife here is one of those surprise in your email or surprise in your mailbox things, because that's how.
Such a good surprise too.
Yeah, but it's how Master Drop always is for me, because you got stuff shipping emails. But I got this because I've handled Michael's knives several times. I like him. He's a great guy. But I never figured it would be such a good knife. What are your opinions on it, Stassa?
Okay. I knew, one thing that I was worried about is, and I think we got the same exact model. Look, is that the same? Same exact one. And the one thing that Michael prides himself on is his super thin, super slicey blades. And I followed him since day one on YouTube. Whenever he used to do his, he used to do like how-to videos and stuff. And I actually watched him grind his first knife, how cool that was. And it's just awesome to watch him, come up from the bottom and strive like he does. And whenever I started cutting with the Thresher, I was like, man, this thing's slicing pretty nice. And then I put my calipers on it, and wow, nice and thin, pretty much almost a full height flat grind. This thing, I don't know how yours is performing, and I haven't even sharpened mine yet, so it's still got the factory edge. I mean, look at that. Paper thin. Yeah. And I mean, the reason I say that is because I mean, majority of weed knives, I mean, most of them don't come in under 20,000, correct?
Oh, they do nowadays, but they didn't used to.
Well, I mean, in this one, we'll talk about this one later, but that's another phenom.
Well,
let's check out our chat and see what's going on there.
Oh, Raphael. Yeah, I was looking up at the chat. Raphael noticed it. I'll bring it down in here where we can all see it a little bit better. All right, so
I've been eyeballing it too, Zell.
I ended up with this kind of consumer level 3D printer. Okay, it's not the greatest 3D printer in the world by any means.
Yeah, but that sure does look good for not being the greatest ever.
But it has been enough to convince me that maybe I need a bit better one, because
a bit better what?
A better 3D printer.
Oh.
Because this is an idea that I drew up quite some time ago, and whenever I drew it up, the thought was, it's a knife guy's deal. We'll get these all arranged here, and we'll do a little bit of explanation on why this came to be. And let's see if I've got the right ones in here. We got a T6. That's a T9. I don't know why we got a T9 out here. But the idea was to have 5 of them. So you just have the ones that you need for most of your knives, and a place to put your driver. And I've got to do some redesign on that. But I designed this a while back, and the idea was that I was going to get with somebody and see if I could find a company that might make them for us. You know,
sure find them.
But this little guy out of what's the stuff? I can't remember what, PT something or another. The regular filament for those 3D printers.
Yeah,
it's okay.
It is. Is it pretty tough or what?
Oh yeah, it's plenty tough. My only problem was I went a little big on that hole and not quite deep enough, but I can fix that. And I forgot.
But isn't that your first go at it?
For this particular piece, yeah, it's my first go. I got to put some dampers in, a bunch of little tweaks, but it is kind of cool to watch that printer spit something out that you designed.
Oh, so, no doubt. Now, Zell, can you actually watch it do the entire thing in front of you?
Oh God, no! That thing took like 6 hours to print.
Well, I didn't know. I've never really watched one of them. I mean, except on like YouTube, and I didn't know how. Hey, my dog's probably gonna be barking, so I'm gonna probably mute it in a second. So if you don't hear me, that's why. Okay.
Right, 2 favorites.
Is he talking about the bench? I mean, the ZTO 609 and the Buck?
Maybe, because let's see, what have I got? All I got is that little copper.
Let's see. But yeah, I think he's talking about this was I said this one was my knife of the year for my $100 and over. And you know, it was definitely a tough one. I had a lot of good choices to choose from, and this one just surprised me this year.
It's that I don't like the pivot setup on it, and I don't like the fact that it reminds me of those old Ken Onion knives.
Well, I think for me, it's a thing because when I was just getting started in the hobby and drooling over some of these big knife collectors, high-end collections, and they all seemed like every one of them at the same time bought an R.J. Martin, what is it, Q, whatever. And I always loved that knife. Just I don't know. It represents what a knife should look like to me. Just how, I like the clip points and stuff. And whenever I saw they were coming out with a smaller version of whatever they came out with before this one that was super limited, man, it was a no-brainer for me. And another big surprise was, I'm so used to ZT, being 28 to 30 plus thousands behind the edge. And, beast of a knife just because, you know, they're hard use knives. And this one more so an EDC knife, you know, it was just a win.
I bet. And Raphael, buck is the best cleaver of the year. I did not get a buck, but I would absolutely agree with you. It is for a definite cleaver blade shape in a standard size knife. It has got it. Why? Because it's still a useful knife that looks cool instead of being just a big freaking cleaver.
Well, I want to say Raphael said the buck was best cleaver of the year. I will say I'm not really even a cleaver fan, but to me he's almost right because it has that slim profile, and you know the stigma of a cleaver is a pocket hog and just very bulky, kind of like if this one was stretched out. I mean, look at the difference. I mean, look at that. It's like you don't even you got a lot of real estate left over. That's what I like about. That's why I didn't even. Whenever this one first dropped, I didn't even get it. I got lucky, and my good buddy Sean that has helped my channel out by sending me loaners had accidentally bought 2 of these, and he asked me if I was interested, and I had said I didn't know. I'd have to check it out. Well, he was sending me one to review anyway, so he's like, if you like it, just let me know, and we'll work out a trade. And boy, do I like it! Yeah, excellent knife.
I kind of missed out on that one. I don't remember when it dropped, but
well, they you can get them all the time. They're normal releases now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean,
now that's something else, Zell, that I wanted to talk about. That just if somebody didn't know, I was talking to Jonas the other day about that. I was like, man, when any idea? I forgot what knife it was. It was one of those type knives, and it was the Keen. I was like, is there any idea when the Keen will be back out? And he told me for now on, unless one of the knives says limited run of say 500 pieces or whatever, he said if it doesn't say that, it will stay in production, and it'll more than likely be ready on order, unless if they're out of stock, you just have to wait till they restock them.
That is beautiful. It's beautiful in so many ways that I can't even talk about on the air right now.
And there was other things that they put into place, like how me and you found out that they got a service department now. And I'll tell you what, from start till now, they have just exploded into an amazing venture there.
Well, I'm going to say they're getting there. I'm not going to say they're there yet.
Oh, no, they're definitely not. But I mean, from day one to now, you got to admit, they've done some good changes.
Yeah, I will say that. Somebody's talking about the Medford here. We'll bring that one up here in just a second.
Yummy, yum.
And, you know, I got this at Blade Show West. And I talked to Greg about it, and I wanted to get one in 3V. And
oh, that would be nice.
And just kind of see. And here's the crazy thing. I know all of the bad. I know all of the why you shouldn't. It's a long list. And here's what happens. This thing still goes in my pocket. And it's, I don't.
Oh, I mean, to me, and I mean, everybody's different. Everybody's mileage varies. But, I mean, look on my screen, Zell. You see this? If I like a knife, if the aesthetics do it for me, and whatever, it doesn't matter to me how heavy, how big. If it can stay in my pocket without pulling my pants to my ankles, I'm gonna carry it, and I will buy it. It's not gonna stop me. It's kind of silly to not buy something because of weight or something like that. If you really like it, you can find out ways around it. I promise you, you've carried things, heavier or whatever you want to say.
Oh yeah. What happens with me on a normal day is this guy here, get back over here to this screen. This guy here goes in the back pocket, especially on days whenever I'm headed out to work. And it goes in there because this thing's made out of 3V. nearly 1/4 inch stock. It's 180 stock.
Yeah, you can never break that.
I can use this for whatever I want to. And yeah, it's got a low grind. It's not super slicey. You're not chopping paper with it. It cuts any and everything I need. And if some maintenance person at work needs to borrow a knife,
you don't have to worry about them.
There's a big fence around where I work, so they can't get away with my knife without me knowing about it. So I can let them borrow this thing, and I don't have to worry about it. For two reasons. One, it's big, it's tough, they can't break it. Secondly, if they do something bad to it, I can call up Greg, and he's going to fix it for a reasonable price.
Hey, Zell, somebody said our audio is a mess. Does it sound rough to everybody?
Let us know what's going on.
Yeah, let us know what's actually happening so we can
I know my audio may be a little low, but I can turn that up if you want me to.
Well, I don't know if it's that. Is it they said it's somebody else said it's rough. Is it more staticky or up and down, or what's, if y'all can kind of give us pointers in the direction, we could probably get it fixed. You know what, Zell, I don't have the mic on because it last time it was going crazy. I could try that. Okay.
If it's on my end, I can get closer to the mic. I've got the mic set away from me right now.
Well, I think it might be that staticky, high-pitched stuff. Let's see. They said sounds like it's cutting out a bit.
Okay. Now, if it sounds like it's cutting out on you guys' end,
my volume's in and out. So I don't have, let's see. It's not on your end. On whose end?
Not us. It's probably YouTube or the internet in general. And I know it's no fun, but it's part of the way these things work. And you know, like I hear Nick just fine, but we've got like this direct connection between me and
he said it's not you. Let me hook up my mic and see if that helps. So y'all just keep talking, Zell. I'll try my mic out.
Bantam and my Boker F3. I have to think about what a Boker F3 is. I know what a Bantam is, and yeah, those are pretty good.
It's the Vox design, Zell.
Huh?
It's the Vox design.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. So, what do we got here laying on the desk? If you see something, yeah, it's Louisiana internet. Yeah, that mafia down there.
We don't have internet. We just have some guy cranking this thing over here. Like, one of the little, I don't know what to call it.
I live out here in the Ozark Hills, so it ain't any better around here.
Yeah, you got a point there.
All right, so a lot of people have asked about this one, which I made a mistake on. I called it blue. And guys, it's not blue. It is violet.
Hey, Zell, I'm going to mute my end, okay?
All right, man. I don't know anything about manly knives, Barry. Stassa has one of the manly knives, I believe. That's right.
I have the wasp and the peak, and as soon as I get this taken care of, I can talk on them.
All right. But a lot of you asked about this whenever I did that little overview video. And guys, I'll be straight with you. It is a great little knife, and I don't care for it one bit. And it's not got anything to do with the knife. It's got to do with the size. And if I was going to carry this size knife every day, I would get one that isn't violet. I think I've got a gray one up here. Then I would get one of these because it fills the hand well and it feels good and it has a good shape to it for a medium large hand. But normally, you guys know I'm going to carry something like this. And if I'm carrying something like this, I don't need a knife this size or this thick. So I'm going to carry something like the Gent or something else that I may stick in my other pocket. These days, it's been a Roxy in my left pocket. Well, thanks, Delby. I don't have any Tuya knives. I don't know what happened with our relationship with Dave over there at Tuya. I know that the knife company is having a little bit of an issue getting themselves off the ground, but freak, Pete Balamus, I'm not calling you guys a freak. The freak from Benchmade is a really neat everyday carry knife. I had one. I don't any longer. I sold it because I generally don't carry that style of knife anymore. But if I did, I sure would. Okay, so we do have something going. Thanks, Dave. And if you guys don't know, Blade Banter, that is the guy that is doing a phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal job straightening up and fixing what Stassa and I started with the pass around groups, and he has just fixed everything, and it's awesome. Flashlights do IDDC. I don't know that I have.
All right, I'm back.
All right.
I got my 2 that I love. If y'all want to see those, or my 3.
I have one of these on my keychain, but I've got a replacement for it that I haven't done a video on yet. That, in fact, that's a brand new one that we should do something with. But I carry, for normal size flashlight, I carry Olight. That's the only thing I'm going to carry, and it's not got to do with loving Olight or them being nice to me, because I buy them just like you guys do. What it does have to do with is whenever I turn the Olight on, it goes directly to the power mode that I left it on. So I can walk around. I do some inspections and stuff, and whenever I walk around and click the on button on the flashlight, by God, I want it to come on and be bright. I don't want it to freaking read a book by the bedside mode. That's what I use my phone for. Anyhow,
Yeah, I know that.
If you want to talk about your lights there for a minute, I'm going to go grab the solo one, I think, if I can remember where I put it.
All right. First off, guys, before I get started, is this sound any better? Y'all just let me know. Am I clear? I hooked up my microphone. If I'm too low, I can turn it up a little bit more or turn it down. Y'all just let me know. Read a book on turbo. Yeah, reading a book on turbo. It's give you a headache. Let's see. Can anybody say how my sound is sounding? Okay, well, let's see. Somebody asked about our flashlights, and let's see. We can still hear you. Okay, sounds fine. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, my flashlights, I carry 3 flashlights pretty much. And my first one is one I scored at Blade Show last year. It's not powerful, but it's perfect for just your regular, like I'd call it, office EDC. It's only 100 lumens. It's a Prometheus design it's a collaboration between Prometheus and 4.7s. It's just a regular Preon, aluminum body. I love the pocket clip on here. I'm a huge fan of the tail clicky. I hate twisties. That's just me. Even though my keychain light was a twisty for a long time, but this guy is usually the one that sits on my review table, mainly because when I click on it, that brightest setting at 100 is not going to blow out the color contrast on my videos, just to show the inside of a liner. Like, say, if I do this and come in there, it should shed, that's the low mode, and it should shed enough, and that's the low mode. It should shed enough light on the situation. And this one, I think it was like $50. Love the look of it. But then this one, I got this one for Christmas from my local gun shop, and it's a new Streamlight micro stream, the one that is 250 lumens. I forgot what the other one was, but I absolutely love this finish. It's got that same tactility as say like the Kershaw Knockout and stuff like that. I love that hard anodized coating, aluminum coating, and I like the idea of the pocket clip. You can either go from this way, or if you want to clip it to a bill of a hat, you can use this way. Mine, I don't know, is set from the factory. Yep, same here. DLB with the i3. I think that okay, I'm getting a little confused. This one came from the factory to where it only goes straight to 250, but I know that it has a low mode, so I can fix that, I'm sure. But when I need more light than those two, those are my lightweight, easy to carry. But if I'm going to walk the dog late at night, I got this guy from Mass Drop, and I think this thing's beautiful. This is a Ray Light. Can't remember the name of it offhand. If somebody's interested, I could probably find the box. Those two I showed you before take a single AAA, and this one either takes, you can use a single AA, or the 18350 or whatever the double A lithium ion version is. I love that pocket clip. And I think this guy's like 500 or 600 lumens, and it's nice and bright. It also has the little ports if you want to put some tritium in there. If you got that kind of dough. I don't, so I'm not going to put it in there. Only thing I don't like about this light is being that they got those little insert spots. It rattles terribly bad, but I'm sure I could fix that pretty easily. This is an awesome little light right here. I got this one off Match Shop for I think $60-something. So that's my main ones. I have a few brighter ones, but they're a little bulky. Okay, let's see.
All right, I'm back, Nick.
Okay. Let's see, I'm going to read these comments. Push the button twice real fast for the low setting on stream. Now, Steve, is that to change it, or is that the only way to access it? Wow, I saw that one on Mass Drop. Nice. Yeah, Sean, I was kind of worried because I thought it was going to be, let's see if I have it. I thought it was going to be like my Lumen Top Mini Prince. And it's comparable, but this guy's way lighter because it's titanium, and just that perfect size if you want to step it up just a notch over the microstream. I mean, just you can tell the two different size batteries here. All right, let's see. For EDC, the Olight S1R2. Yeah, High Desert. I have Olight S10 Baton. That one lives in my my center console of my truck. Yeah, I love those lights as well. Excellent lights. Only thing I can't get used to the darn side switch. I'm just used to hurry-up, and that's just second nature to me. I always forget to do that. I know that's probably easier, but I'm not like that tactical style. All right. Do you still carry your copper Natrix? Where is it at? Here it is right here. This guy hasn't got carried a ton, mainly because mine has those issues. If you watch my video on the issues I have with mine, the pivot, the female side of the pivot is too long, so I can't tighten it up enough to not make it have side to side play. Zell, I got one of those riding on my light since our last stream. Absolutely love it.
Got one of those what?
Them Ray-Vons.
Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, mine rides on my keys.
First off, if somebody knows how this ended up in my mailbox, please let me know, because it wasn't listed on who sent it anywhere on the package or inside the package. But this mystery light showed up, and there wasn't any white powder that killed me, so it was a good thing.
Well, I'm glad you showed me that, because I was gonna send you one of those.
And so it was you.
No, it wasn't me, because I didn't get a chance to do it.
Oh, okay. So this little light, and here we'll pop off our lights. This thing is crazy bright.
Oh yeah, especially for tiny.
Now it doesn't last, like some super long time, but it's also unfortunately micro USB, but still
Not
USB.
unfortunate. I like that. I mean, of course, I'd maybe rather it to be an easier plug, but I'm fine with that.
Here's the thing. I know you're an iPhone guy, but
iPhones don't take that dough.
I know. The thing is, I've got a Samsung phone. I've also got an iPhone. I have to have two of the silly things. But Samsung uses USB-C. My laptop uses USB-C. My server
is that the smaller one?
It's the round plug. It's another USB plug, but it just looks like this instead of
almost like an iPhone looking.
Yeah, it's in fact it is the same electronics if I remember correctly. But anyhow, USB rechargeable, so you can recharge it in your vehicle. I haven't put this on my keys yet, but it is going to replace the little i1R that I've got.
Oh, it definitely replaced mine.
And they sent me an aluminum one, whoever did it. And I thought I was going to complain about the having to hold it to turn it on and off, but I'm not complaining at all. This is a super cool little light.
That's what I wanted to ask you, Zell. Did you get? They just had a version 2 or whatever that one is. They just made a new one, and is yours mine? And I heard somebody else complain about it. The only issue I have with mine is to turn it on. You have to hold that button down for a hard 2 seconds. I think way longer than a normal light would be.
No, it comes on pretty quick.
Yeah, so you must have the version 2 of it because that was one of the changes, and then they changed some of the mode settings on it.
Yeah, I have no idea. All I've got is Aurora A3 gun gray. 550 lumens.
Yeah.
Now it is bright. It doesn't have a lot of throw. That's the only downfall is, and I'm getting all into freaking loom head terms here, but it doesn't have a beam that shoots out very far.
Yeah.
15 or 20 feet is about all you're getting even on high. And the other one I used and somebody asked is this S2R baton. And I've got like 3 of these, one of the new ones and two of these like this. And the coolest thing here is the way they charge. Again, USB and serious ridiculous number of lumens, and it comes on to the setting I left it on. And I do have, someone mentioned the S1R, and I have an S1R, and I don't ever carry it because it's too small. It's like that.
Yeah, that's why I don't carry mine either. Hey, I'm gonna step away from the camera for a second.
All right, man. What else? Oh, and I do have one of these, and this is a super cool light, but it's like the little Aurora, except it's made out of brass or copper or whatever it was, and it's heavy, and it has very little throw. I was trying to use it to do some inspections the other night, and the short throw on this one, I had to go back to the truck and get the the S2R, because it was just a little much. This little guy, as far as getting hot, I have not had it get hot on me, but it's a little bitty light. I haven't had it on for multiple minutes to do anything with. I use it just like a keychain light.
Is this the same one, Zell?
Oh, hang on. What you got? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, huh? Royvon
Aurora A3 is what it says on it.
Let's see. I'm trying to look through the camera.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it just rides on my keys with my Hap 40 man bug. That comes in so handy sometimes.
Yep.
And that's about it. Oh, and check this patina out. This is the Lumen Top Prince. Look at that marble patina looking.
Man, that come out nice.
And that's just natural wear too.
How heavy is that thing though?
Boat anchor. This light only gets carried if I'm walking the dog and some of the street lights are out in my neighborhood because it's just too heavy. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to see if my scale is sitting around here. Yeah, here it is. Let's see.
Guys, by the way, Dylan Mallory is in the chat room, and if you guys don't know, he's going to type the name of the knife that he designed that they just produced, and they are producing it from somewhere in the mid $50-$60 range all the way up over $200. And I can't ever pronounce it right, so he can. So Dylan, you'll have to type it. But
Man,
it is a cool knife.
some really cool ones.
They're using artisan cutlery's deal where they do it in G10 and D2 all the way up to E390, carbon fiber and titanium and all that stuff.
What's the name of that company? The one that's doing the knives as well? I know Artisan, but then there's that new company.
I don't know. Dylan will have to let us know there. Our shit. There you
go.
One
of them. One of the new company, or the company that's about to produce one. I saw that design, and man, I think it's a clip point and beautiful. Oh, the lumen top prints. I mean, what you call it is 5.72 ounces.
Okay, mass drop. We produce knife that's regularly available. Best recommendation based on value. There's only one to get.
Thresher.
And these Threshers.
Yeah, the Thresher, and then I can't speak on it, but the Keen is what I hear the second most buzz about. Actually, I mean, if you're talking about just buzz around, you'll hear the Keen more, because I think more people just bought the Keen, but I'll have to buy the Keen to let you know which one I think is cooler.
It's got so little personality, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's correct. But this one, yeah, we can both attest to it. This thing is amazing for what you're getting. What was it, Zell?
I was just reading Dylan's comment there. With Armor is the other brand.
Yeah, With Armor, that's it.
Designs, which is just so cool. Yeah, the Crux. There's several, but this guy here, you just saw. Whenever I read that out, what did Nick and I both grab? I mean, yeah. It was instant. We grabbed this guy right here. That is Dylan.
I already had called it in my video. I think my top knives of the year. I already called it the best collaboration they did thus far.
All right, and since I didn't do that because all the technical difficulties I had,
I think you have to do it now.
I'm going to do a little bit of that. Probably not as extensive definitely not as extensive as I would do in a video, but we're going to keep everything under 300 MSRP here because we could go nuts.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put it, the best collaboration knife that I have seen, barring my own knives, is this guy. Absolutely. They nailed it. They made such a great knife out of it that I don't think there's anything out there in that class that can even touch it.
I think you're right.
Now, whenever we talk about that $100 and under class, I've got a pick that people are going to argue about, but it's a pick because it has a future, and that is the bare knuckles. And whenever I say it has a future, in its current form at what, $69 or whatever it is.
Yeah, 69.
It's a tad bit expensive, but we know that this is going to be rolling out of that factory in high-end steels for $100 or so very soon. And whenever that happens, this is probably the best knife Kershaw has made in a decade.
Yeah, I got the raw end of the deal on mine. I don't know if I told you that. I got this one from Blade HQ, and I should have waited because I didn't even ask my local shop if they were going to be getting them in. But mine came in, and the detent ball is just sitting like it's basically getting stuck in the hole.
Oh, man.
And I was like, maybe it's just my weak ass fingers, I not being able to do it. But when I went to my local shop, I handled all 5 of theirs, and all 5 of theirs were excellent. I begged them to swap one out for me. I'll just buy another one and give this one away.
I hear you. Now, I'm going to go back over to my stuff here. The best gentleman's knife that they came out with last year is one that people, I don't know, it's like they kind of missed it. And the worst part is I don't know the name. Thorn, that's what it was. But it's a Brad Zinker design. And it's the best Brad Zinker collaboration that you can currently purchase. The only way to get a better Brad Zinker is to buy one from the man himself. And his designs just speak to me. They're simple. There's nothing fancy here, and they do their job. And
his stuff's like, in compared to other what you call it, is affordable.
It's custom.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
like
this sounds
$500.
Sounds like a lot to some people, but whenever you look in the world of custom knives, his customs are $500, $600 if they got really fancy steel or something, and it's just freaking unbelievable.
Like, very unbelievable. I mean, especially if you've ever been to Blade Show, you know what we're talking about.
Oh God, yeah, it's crazy. But those are kind of my picks for last year. Now, we're not going to go up over $300 because that just gets crazy. And I don't think we really need to talk about that under $50 or lower end of things, because
I took care of it already for you.
Well, and because there's this problem, there's this company right here that came about that is just taking over the world as far as under $100
Got to
go.
be knives.
The Civivi stuff.
Yep.
You just can't argue with it. You're getting weak quality at $70, $46.
Yep.
And you know, I don't even know how to even talk about others. However, we are going to here pretty quick. Get some of the other things that Nick wanted to talk about. What some of the others? That bird. Tell me about that bird, because that's interesting to me.
The bird. What you talking about? The bird.
The one in the bottom left-hand corner down there, the little cleaver.
The slim Berg. Oh, Berg. Okay. Yeah. This is, well, these two. I picked up, this is the first one that I seen. He had a large version of this that he designed first. This is his mini iron pup. He had a full-size iron pup, and I didn't know about him up until this year at Blade Show. A buddy of mine snagged this guy, and we were showing our scores, and he pulled this out, and my jaw dropped because of that sexy clip point, and I said, what do I have that I just bought that it's going to take to get that guy from you? So we did some heckling and hackling, and I scored this guy. So that's whenever I first, he came on my radar. And if I didn't know any better and he didn't tell me this was produced by I would have thought this was a full-blown custom, just by how well everything's fit, all the extras, like you got such a nice inside right there, this backspacer. And good night, Sean T. So whenever he put this one up on his IG, the pre-order, I didn't hesitate at all. He I guess he has a custom like this as well, and I didn't think that the quality could get better than this guy right here, but I was super wrong. I mean, just look at just really look at this. You got a micarta pivot collar, and anybody who's ever worked with micarta knows that micarta is a pain in the rear end to work with. It gets gummy, and that's why you don't see a lot of companies messing with it. And
carbon fiber.
Yeah, I mean, I like the looks. I like the looks of micarta a whole lot, but when it comes down to like the custom scales that I've made, and I've used micarta on some of them, that's a material that I hate using, but I think it looks so nice. But you got this brown micarta, this tie bolster, and it's a bolster lock as well, just like this guy right here. The action on this guy is amazing, and this is what really blew my mind. Look how thin it's this. The satin finish ones were hollow grinds. There you go. Can you see that, Zell?
Yeah, man.
Nice and thin. And it has, I don't want to do it because I just sharpened it, but I don't know. Let's see if y'all can hear this. Can you hear that?
Yep.
It has that razor blade ting because it's such a thin grind. And look at this bevel. I don't know if y'all can see that as well. That bevel right here is the factory bevel, and it is sharpened at 14.5 degrees per side.
Wow.
Look at that. Is that not sick? So as long as you're not cutting something like thick that's, you know, going to cause drag. This thing is a slicing machine. Now, I've been doing my testing on this guy since I sharpened it, and I have noticed, you know, just by cutting like really thick cardboard, if it doesn't part, like if it has pressure and it catches right here, it just doesn't cut as smoothly, say, as, you know, this wasp that's 8 thousandths behind the edge. But phenomenal job. I'm still trying to get used to the look of the chodness. It just looks like it got cut off, or the blade snapped right there or something. But so far, yeah, but that's good. That's different kind of chode, though, Zell. That one's like that one has a complete blade. I guess if
on that.
What's that?
What's the blade length on it?
Let me see. I think where's my, yeah, here it is. Let's see. I'd say it's probably close to your 3 inches.
Okay, so it's a little bit bigger than a Roxy.
Yeah, but not by a bunch. What's the total length on the Roxy?
Roxy's blade is 2.6.
Okay, I got you. You know what? Something that I thought was a little odd, just from all the millions of knives I've taken apart and maintained, is that whenever I was taking this guy apart, you know, it's as you can see, it's a double-sided, and it's one thing I'm kind of shocked is free spinning. You don't see that too often with we. It's a free spinning pivot, and I went like I do with every knife and go on the show side to start loosening it up, and I talked to somebody else, and theirs did it too. It unscrews from this side. It just kind of, I was like, huh? Not that matters at all, but
I bet what happened is whoever's doing the assembly on them, whenever they put those things together, there's the pivot collar, or the pivot shaft, is threaded all the way through.
Yeah.
And they thread those in there, and one side gets Loctite, one type of Loctite, the other side gets a different type of Loctite.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
And whoever was putting them together was either new or
left-handed
or whatever, would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think. I mean, like I said, it absolutely is like no problem. It's just something, you know, you do something so many times, and when something's different, you're like, huh? Oh, I want to show y'all this too. Just another added touch for a production knife that wasn't, at least not on mine. Let me make sure I say that. Yeah. On the back spacer of this guy, let's see if I can show y'all this without blinding y'all. Can you see that? No.
We can't see anything. Your internet has slowed down some on us.
I see me lagging. Man.
Yeah.
Let me, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you. No problem.
Okay, let me open up my little door right here, see if that helps. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to go over to the other screen.
Yeah,
Wood Tactical asked about the malware. I don't yet have pricing on the malware. I can tell you we are getting very, very, very close to the malware being released.
Okay.
So we should be seeing these soon.
Okay.
That little bird reminded me, hey, we've got Roxy's, and we even have a Roxy that's got the flame pattern on it with trademark Wee Stonewall Black blade. And PTR is giving us crap, and we really don't care. But since he did, and he's trying to tell us where there aren't any traditionals up here, what do you call this? This is about traditional as it gets, except it's not. S35 VEN. Check out that blade finish. I mean, check out that blade finish, and then check out these bolsters and the carbon fiber inlay. Top two on the right. We will get to those, but we need to get Stassa 23 back in here because he knows a little bit more about the company they come from than I do. I have just talked to him a little bit. But this finish is just, man, guys, I hope to see this on more Wii knives because one, I know it's not technically smooth, but it feels smooth. It cuts well, and it's just abso-freaking-lutely beautiful on the way that they built these. And also, for those of you that have been asking, this is a 3.5 inch, and if I remember right, the next one that's coming will be a less than 3 inch traditional knife. Should be seeing those sometime soon. And G Motion, yes, it has a half stop. In fact, here I'll get it up by the get it right up here, and we'll listen to it.
Snippy snap, snippy snap.
It's got a nice, strong half stop, and it does have a nice, strong back spring. I don't know how they rate these traditional back springs, but I'm going to put this one in there with probably a brand new Swiss Army.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that either. The walk and talk.
Yeah, in the half stop, they have on the actual back spring.
Yeah, like on Knives Ship Free, I think they have it.
Yeah, and I don't, I have to have things in numbers, not just guesses. So,
yeah, I feel you on that one.
So, doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I would equate that to a brand new Swiss Army knife, full-size Swiss Army knife, not one that's a year or two old, but brand spanking new. And how you doing over there, Stassa? You back with us?
Yeah. Is it clear again?
It's clear for me.
Well, we figured out my wife was doing something on the internet, and being that I'm so far from the router, when she got on it, it started making me lag.
Okay, so we're good to go now.
Yeah, at least for now.
Okay, I need your help. They're asking about these two knives up here. And we talked. Yes, sir. We talked about these earlier today.
Yeah.
And first, I want to give a little story on how this come about. Kang over at Kubi Knives sent me an email. Good night, Raphael. Good night, Delby. Oh, wait, Raphael ain't going nowhere. It's just Delby.
See you, Delby.
And Connor is headed out. Have a good night.
Later, Connor.
Dylan says his nails are too thin for a spring this strong. Well, I'm not using my nails. It's got enough room that you can grip it with the meat of your fingers. Back to the Kubis. Back to the little story. Kane got a hold of me, and man, this was back and forth, back and forth. He wanted to send me this knife, that knife, blah, 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 blah. And he ended up sending me two knives. I had no idea that this one was coming, and he had decided to send this one. Mm-hmm. And I got him. I went over by where I pick up my mail and picked them up today. And I got this one out of the box first. And this is, I don't even know. It's just got a number.
I like that carbon fiber one a lot.
Well, we'll get to that in just a second. But I got this one out first, and I flipped it open, and I love these sheep's foot blades like this. This is just a blade shape that, well, I need to design one. That's what I need to do. Instead of just talking about other people's, that's what I need to do.
Kind of looks like the Best Tech Barracuda blade shape.
Yeah, that or your Benchmade. What's the one that everybody gets? The little short one.
I know what you're talking about.
Anyhow, reverse ponto they call it.
Oh, the 940.
940. I call it a sheep's foot of sorts. But the cool thing was that's out of the box, guys. If I remember right, this knife is between 40 and 50 bucks.
That sounds about right.
And look what they've done here with they've used well, that's a peel plier, an overlay G10. It's got a texture layer on top of the blue. And then they went through and milled the design into it. They've chamfered everything. They've made it perfectly down through here. I haven't used a pocket clip yet, so I can't talk about it, but it doesn't look like it's going to be bad. It's got a little lanyard hole, a little bit small, but that doesn't bother me any at all. But holy goodness, for $50, and I knew nothing about QB besides saying hi to Kang and back and forth emails with him a few times before these arrived. And I was duly impressed at the price point. Now, do they compete with wheat? That is the killer holy crap that we've got to deal
Compete with who?
with Civivi and we. That's
not currently, no.
That's the holy crap we've got to deal with at this point at that price range. And the short answer is no, but the longer answer is, from what I understand, they are using D2 from the United States or Europe, and they are doing a darn good job with it. So, are they to the same quality level? They're darn close. The only thing I'd say is they need to work on that pocket clip. That pocket clip, I think it's going to work fine. Yeah, I think it'll be fine, but I think it could have been better. But other than that, it's just impressive what we're getting these days for $40. I'm going to put these guys through the ringer, and we'll get a video out on them sometime soon. But here's the other one, and I don't think this one has a name either. But this was the second one, and I pulled this thing out of the box, and I was like, oh my God. They knew exactly what I wanted. I mean, look at that, Stassa.
That thing is beautiful. You know, at first I thought there was a custom that I saw the other day, and I was just about to say, Zell, when did you buy that custom? Like literally, I think it's the carbon fiber, how it's reflecting off the light. And I can't think of the door. Man, you know I love that blade shape. That's all me right there. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'll probably be buying one of those depending on how it performs.
And these are like $130. And I haven't done anything with these. So we'll do just a real quick. There's a T8. Okay, that's T6.
You said it doesn't have a name yet?
I don't know that they have names. Okay, that's a problem. But it's not
PGR. At first, I thought it did have a similar resemblance to one of Browse's designs, mainly because Browse has a few of those like slender, skinny, pointy, stabby ones. It's a Browse.
I forget what it was, but I know what Browse he's talking about, and it is nowhere near the same size or same shape as that Browse. I mean, it's similar shape, but not the same. I had one.
Oh, PGR, Love Them Knives already tested one, and it came back as the steel had said. The only thing they had an issue is the Rockwell came back pretty low, but that was one knife out of a batch. He's going to try to test a few more, and they said that they will definitely look into it because that shouldn't be the case.
The only place I can pick on this knife is this pocket clip will move around some and get over on the lock bar, and that really shouldn't happen. But they're doing some things that a lot of companies won't do. They've got that this carbon fiber is a structural component of the knife, fully and completely. Okay, there is a steel insert in there, it looks like. But we is the only other company in mass production that I've seen do that.
What are you talking about?
Use carbon fiber as a structural component.
Oh, are they?
Most of them put some sort of steel backing or something like that in there, which is unnecessary if you're using the right grade of carbon fiber.
I mean, you shouldn't have to use it at all.
Right. If you're
carbon fiber is tough as hell.
Yeah, if you're using the right grade, it shouldn't be shouldn't need to. But anyhow, initial impressions, super impressed. I have not been this impressed with a new knife company in ever. They are a little thick behind. Well, maybe not. About 26 thousandths behind the edge. That's not.
That's good. That's the same as my ZTO 609. So I mean, it's not Spyderco thin, but it's definitely gonna get all your EDC tasks done really nice and easily.
About the same.
The Suru is all carbon. Yeah, the Suru is all carbon fiber. With the full listing of all the steel tests. Yeah, check out David's channel, Blade Banner's channel. he has a full listing of all the tests that are done on all these steels and the Rockwell, and whether a certain company's steel is the correct steel or not. So if y'all are interested in all that, go check out David Blade Banner's page. Where's it at, David? That thing is what's the weight like on it?
Not very heavy. I don't.
Is it milled out?
No, it isn't. Well, no, it isn't milled out, but that doesn't matter. My guess is that we're looking at 3 ounces or so.
Wait, what? Wait, how big is that thing?
I don't know about that either, but I do have a set of calipers.
Man, because that thing looked like I was gonna shoot a ballpark guess at about 4.5 ounces.
Oh God, no! It's nowhere
just for
near
the size, the look of it. I don't know how big it is, but it is slender.
3.7 blade, but just from my experience in building these things, this thing, if I built it, would be about 4.2 or so ounces. The way they built it, if it was all titanium.
Yeah.
You take a little over an ounce off whenever you put the carbon fiber on the front side of the knife. So I'm guessing somewhere in the mid 3s. I don't have my scale up here. We just weigh it.
Hey, Zell,
$130.
How much?
$130 if I remember correctly.
Wow. I will be checking one of those out. I got a question for you, Zell, that somebody else is asking in the chat about the Suru, all carbon fiber Suru. I'm not certain because I don't own one of those, but didn't they mill out a section on the carbon fiber frame lock side and insert a piece of titanium or something in there to help it spring?
No, they don't. They're doing the same thing Fox Knives is doing most likely.
That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the Fox Suru.
Okay, I looked at that thing, and here's how they did that. People have asked, and the little French, Italian, whatever they are, folks won't tell you.
Italianos.
Because they're, well,
now, those are my people.
Oh, man, you're Asian. You ain't one of them. But anyhow, what they're doing is they're taking a block of carbon fiber and they're milling that handle out. Okay. And they're using a grade of carbon fiber that gives them the spring necessary to create the lock.
I gotta say, it's amazing.
Whenever I first saw it, was amazing, but whenever I sat back and thought about how that they were doing it, it's not really all that amazing. It's just expensive.
Yeah.
And the reason they're able to do it now is the grades of carbon fiber that are springy, so to speak, are considerably less expensive. Like the grade of carbon fiber they're using in this, the Waroma. It is not a rigid carbon fiber. It has some flex to it, and it's way less expensive than the carbon fiber that they're using here, where it's actually a structural component. But whenever you use it like this, you get the approximate thickness that you need, and you just mill off little bits of it to get your contouring. So, the price comes out somewhat even either way.
Yeah. Hey, Zell, did somebody ask about the Manly knives? Because I had my thing muted, but I heard you say something that I would be able to talk about. I don't know. What did they ask about? What we thought about them?
What we thought about them, and I just don't know enough about the.
I'm still currently doing thorough testing on both this one.
Hang on, over there. There you go.
I'm currently testing both of these. You can still see the gook on this is the Peak right here. This is the Wasp. I thoroughly love this design. This one is a slip joint that has like 4 stages of half stops. And this is just your back lock that still acts like, back lock that still acts like a slip joint. And what I mean by that is whenever you go to open this guy, right when you get to right there, it feels like you're getting over a half stop. It's like a stop point in the blade. And I'm guessing they're doing that for extra rigidity. But this guy has got the most testing, and it come what drew me to these knives besides the cheaper price tag is first off, look how thin that blade stock is. That, let's see, I got a Delica right here. Here's a Spyderco Delica, and these two are very comparable. It's almost as thin as a Spyderco Delica. It's way thinner behind the edge. This thing from factory comes, unless you get a lemon, it comes 8 thousandths behind the edge. This Spyderco 20 thousandths behind the edge, 8 thousandths behind the edge. Super thin. Then the edge bevel on this guy right here comes at 15 degrees per side. At least mine did. And also S90V. I don't know if y'all can see it because I can't see it on my little bitty screen, but okay.
Now I've got to ask some questions about the Manly. That's the Peak, right?
No, this is the Wasp. The Peak is this guy right here, the Endura lookalike.
Okay. So I got to ask some questions about both of them. Whenever I look at them, it looks like they didn't put a fillet or a chamfer on anything.
Well, that's what I was about to get to. Okay. Let's just say, okay, this guy, I'm not exactly sure, but I think the Manly Knives US page, I think this S90 version comes in at $69. So at $69 for this is black and red layered G10 with those thin grinds, S90V, and they also claim on their site that it's Rockwell between 60, I think it's like 61 to 62 or 61 to 63, which is nice because most production companies, keep all their stuff at like 58 to 59 in that ballpark. So you could potentially have, a harder steel, but at a cheaper cost. But at that cost, they're cutting corners somewhere. So the first thing, I noticed was the inside of that G10, is a 90-degree, completely 90-degree edge right there. But besides that, and you do have, flat scales, but just like a Delica, flat scales, you do have a decent chamfer around here, but you have a very light chamfer going around the outer frame. The only really sharp spots of the knife besides the edge are the insides of this G10, which that's an easy fix. And the spine of this almost feels like I can strike a ferro rod with it. And mine came with a little flare in the back. I started to fix it. I didn't finish, but you can see right there. But overall, I would say for the $69 or whatever it costs, I can't make the complete, I can't say 100% yet because I'm not done testing, but at this point, I'd say no doubt about it, it's worth it. At this point, now you'd have to wait for my full video to hear my final diagnosis of it. But after this is the 4th sharpening I've done on here, and it took 3 sharpenings to get the full potential of the steel. The first 2, it didn't hold an edge worth of poo. The third one was that.
That's just S90V.
Yeah, not just that. S90V at 8 thousandths behind the edge. at 8 thousandths, behind the primary bevel. So.
Good night, Pete.
Yeah, good night, Pete. So, and it's Rockwell high, so it could be a little bit more brittle. But now that I've sharpened it this is the 4th time, this thing has been performing like a champ. So pretty excited about this one. The Peak, I'm excited about it as well. But this one, I just love the design. And it's fairly comfortable. It's not the most comfortable because, of course, it is a little blocky. It feels like a Delica or Endura. It feels like just like kind of like a paramilitary. You got that same blocky scales. Look at that. See?
Yeah.
So, I think you're getting a good bang for your buck. And one more thing to top it off from these guys, a buddy of mine, my buddy Super Steel Steve, we were talking and I talked him into picking one up. And his, the main reason why he picked one up is because he wanted that 8,000 behind the edge to have that super, thin slicer. And he waited, and he got his, and his was 12,000 behind the edge, which doesn't sound like a big deal. But if you're looking for something in particular and they're making that claim, you kind of you wanted that because, after that first sharpening, Zell, what'd you say? It's going to go to about 14, 15,000 after you sharpen it the first time?
Yeah, if it's a flat grind, you lose every time you sharpen it.
Yeah, so, you want it to be as thin as you can to start with. So, when it thickens up, it doesn't thicken up that quickly. But he he told them what was going on with it. And he said, I'm not looking for anything in return. I just wanted to let y'all know, mine came at 12,000, whatever. And he said, all I would ask is if there's any way you could cherry pick me one and I'll buy that one. Well, they said, no, we're not going to let you buy it. They cherry picked him one. They're sending him a brand new one. And they told him to give the other one away on his channel if he wanted to. So I think they went over and beyond if you would have read all of his comments with them.
Well, it sounds like it.
So
that's
important.
The question I have, though, is I've experienced some S90V.
Yeah.
S90V at 8,000s behind the edge sounds a bit insane.
Yeah, but was that me and you that were talking about the testing I did?
I know. It's come up good. It's, just knowing how S90V reacts and works, I think, well, if I were going to choose a steel and it was going to be an expensive one, of course, it'd push the price of the knife up. But in that class, it'd be S110V.
Now, see, I would have loved to see some M4 at those higher Rockwells just for that toughness.
They're not going to do M4. I wish more places would, but, the only place we're going to talk somebody into giving us M4 is maybe Medford.
Or another one that's been blowing my mind here lately is that Rex 45.
Yeah, I haven't messed with it anything. Messed with it at all. I probably should, but I've been so focused on design and
yeah, I think you got a good reason
and stuff that in fact, I'm way backed up on reviews. I had a bunch done on the camera, but my little snafu here a few weeks ago with the electronics, I got way behind.
And, of course, M39. Go ahead. And now, what happened with your camera? It crapped out on you?
No, I had some peripherals and stuff mess up on me, and then I had a memory module that had some kind of error in it and was causing all my Adobe products to crap out like 3/4 of the way through a render. If you're rendering 4K, that could be
man, it's already a nightmare.
Yeah, so I've just now got everything. I got that memory module replaced and got the SD card readers and stuff replaced. Thanks to the guys that whack the super chat and the guys that do the Patreon thing. And I've been thinking about the Patreon. I don't know if I'm going to keep that going because Patreon expects you to do things, and I just don't have time to do things over on Patreon.
That's the only reason I didn't start one.
Well, the only reason I started one is because people ask for it, and there's some people over there. But I'm thinking seriously about, for people that want to do something like that, just putting the donation link in the in
PayPal.
the videos. Yeah, just PayPal link, PayPal.me link.
Yeah, and they don't take a percentage from you.
Well, right. They don't take a percentage. And, there's the other thing, too. If we're just dealing with PayPal, there's no politics involved. And right now, Patreon and all those places are all embroiled in a bunch of political BS that I really don't want to be part of.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they kick somebody off for some silly reason or something. I don't know, and I don't want to get into it, guys.
Yeah.
But it's caused a whole lot of hate and discontent.
I have to pick up. My camera's gone out again. I have to pick up one of them manleys. Yeah, I think. If you like super slicers, I think you might like it, PGR. Can you hear me?
Guys, I do have to do the little show off thing here. We've got this one should be in dealers here in the next week or so, less than a week now.
Like that one you're about to no, the one with the flaming on it.
Yeah, the flames.
I want it.
Well, it'll be there.
Zell, your good friend's birthday is on the 23rd of this month.
You know I got to pay for these just like you
I'm
do.
just messing with you, my buddy.
And I wish they gave me good enough discounts, but they don't.
Yeah, I know, but they're still producing quality knives, so we can cut them a slack.
All right. So this one is coming out here in the next few weeks, and there's also the stealth model, all black with brass across here and a brass pocket clip. And I'm not sure. I haven't seen the backside of the brass one. I don't know if the backspacer is brass or not. They didn't tell me, but I wanted you guys to see those. People are always asking. The malware is in final stages of production now. I can't tell you what colors we're going to get exactly. I can tell you some of them are going to be like this knife we looked at earlier from Kubi, and we are going to have full carbon fiber on the non-lock side. So, however, if you're wanting those, whenever the malware hits, be sure to grab them, because I'm not sure how many they're going to be, but the carbon fiber numbers are lower than the full titanium numbers for sure.
That's good to know for collectors' purpose.
Also, I have been told, but I have not seen with my own eyes yet, that there will be full-blown left-hand versions, both in carbon fiber and in titanium, but there's only going to be a few, and I mean a serious few. So if you are a lefty or know a lefty, you'll want to let the lefties know that that is coming so that they can nab them before they disappear. Because I'm not supposed to talk about the numbers exactly, but I can tell you that it is such a small percentage of the total production run that it's almost insignificant. Oh. So anything else I've got out here you guys want to look at? We have talked about all kinds of stuff. Got a black star here. I need to get a review done of this so that one of you guys can own this black star. Because
show me that Pleroma.
The Pleroma. Oh boy, the Pleroma.
I know, but I just want to check it out. It looks kind of funky.
It is a pretty knife.
Oh, no doubt. How's that angle? That angle in the hand?
It's fine. In fact, it's good. He didn't goof that up. I just, it's not for me. That's the thing.
I was just about to say, it looks like a knife that it's either definitely something that is going to be perfect for you or not at all. No in between.
I mean, I can look at it and I can appreciate in every way the details of the knife completely, because the details are just gorgeous. The way it goes together. I'm not going to get into all of Elijah's talking about math and stuff. Well, we all seen that was very similar to a penguin shape. But
what did he say? What do you call it? Like, what did he say? Design it after something crazy.
Oh, a bunch of math, and I'd have to think about it, but I could tell you the math. But bottom line is he actually took some time designing the knife in a mathematical way to create these swoops.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Instead of doing what I do, and I just draw it until I got it the way I liked it and be happy. But there's some numbers in math that always make things pleasing to look at, and I'm sure that's what he was looking at to get your pleasing look. Absolutely. And for those guys that like a sway back, it's going to be a really nice little knife.
Go ahead.
I would say it's not for me. It's made for somebody else.
Yeah. Dylan asked, do we have anything new coming? And I picked up today. He said he's got the Microtech Jedi Knight on the way. Sweet. I had to order the Pilar in D2 today. I just had to check it out just to say I did. And
Pilar.
Yeah, the Lord, the XL came out today.
Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah, that's one that I'm skipping.
Well, see, I was gonna skip it, but 2 reasons. One, Vox. I just can't. Man, he has that tracto beam on me, and I can't get around it. And then 2, I want to see how they do on their D2.
Well, I agree, and I probably should, but I'm just.
Well, I'll send mine your way after I'm done.
All right, because if I'm going to have a big Warncliffey thing, well, I've got a big Warncliffey thing.
Well, that's the thing. It's not. It's like It's like a strange size because it's not really like. It's like that in between that small and medium.
Yeah.
That's medium.
Small, blue with a tiny clip. Okay, I know what he's talking about.
Which one?
This is the gent that'll tick me off or ticked me off.
What's this one? Light blue one. With
right here.
Clip.
Stassa.
Which one?
Look on the screen.
Uh-huh.
The gent.
Oh. Yeah, I got one of those somewhere.
Right. See, this one ticked me off. We'll talk about that in the video sometime. I've already talked about it. But
you carrying that one left side?
Yeah. But I have a 3D printer now that makes these things. So I'm thinking about maybe printing some 3D scales for it.
Cool.
That way I could do a little more offset, and I could do a little more with the titanium and anodize that titanium and fix the problem that ticked me off, and then find somebody else that wants to own it.
I hadn't been carrying my gent that much. It's a great user, but I don't know. I kind of fell. I don't know. Fell away. And my finger slips quite a bit on that flipper tab, not having any jimping on it.
Yeah, we'll do a takedown on the Roxy. I can tell you now that inside the Roxy there are no surprises. Zero. It does have a smaller pivot than we normally uses. They did that for us. Now they're using it on other knives, of course, but it was done first for the Roxy so that it wouldn't be this. Well, actually, so that their pivot wouldn't get down into the. Oh, there we go. All right, let me get the right screen up here so that the pivot wouldn't get down into our lines. But it's still a standard weave pivot. Standard backspacer. And this particular model, because of the size, it is not milled out. We put the milling on the outside because the stock is thinner than what you get on most knives. And we will do a teardown on it, but there's not a lot of something special to see in there. Kind of your standard knife.
I still love it.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure how much you love it. You don't have one.
Hey, I haven't got anything new, so
look at all those knives on your table.
Anybody want to buy one? Except this one.
Hang on.
And these 2 are never for sale. And this
I understand that.
Yeah, this one my wife bought me, so it's never leaving the collection. And I just like this one too much. But for the right price, all the rest of them are for sale.
It's kind of funny how you get attached to some of them, just like anything else. And it seems to be weird ones. Like this Medford, my Praetorian Genesis. Yeah. No, I'm always going to own it. I kind of picked it up on a whim, but I'm always going to own it. Now, the one I did not pick up on a whim that I'll always own is the freaking SMA. That was completely on purpose.
Yeah. Now, look, PGR, he knows damn good and well if I didn't like it, I'd tell him it blows. Hazel.
Yeah, he would.
He said he doesn't have the heart to tell you. No, he knows I tell him. Just like if I asked him to be honest, he'd tell me too.
Yeah, because that's something you guys don't know is Stassa is a bit of a sounding board for some of our design. Because we come up with crazy stuff that most people don't ever see, thank goodness, because Stassa fixes us before we do something stupid.
No, we collaborative efforts on all parts. That's why you see when you see his final product, they have tons and tons more hours than you can imagine in the development of every knife that they make.
Oh yeah.
If I lived closer, he'd be tired of me by now.
This little Roxy, this little bitty knife has 2 years, thousands of miles in my truck and my brother's truck, and countless hours, and about 5 or 6 different revisions, maybe more than that. I lost count at some point.
I bet you it's more.
You know, now the big one was a little quicker. The big one had, I think, 3 revisions, maybe 4, and we nabbed it before we had time to make a bigger mess out of it. And there's one more revision after that. So after this, I guess 5 revisions.
Yeah, Dylan. In my eyes, if you don't have somebody telling you that, then they're not really your friend. Because if I was just tooting his horn all day and let him do something that wasn't, that maybe he didn't see, and I happen to see, or vice versa, then I could destroy, a lot. So to me, that's important.
Yeah, you're right, Dylan. That's
good night, Bradley.
And good night, Bradley. And if I still got my screen up there, yeah, the big one, PGR. I like it too. There's other ones that are much further out that I like better, but I don't know. This one is a prototype, and I probably shouldn't be carrying it because, well, it's a prototype. But I don't know if you guys can see on the screen, but see the corners there? Yeah, it gets carried because, well, it's not just because it's one of our designs. It's because I just honestly like to use it, and I'm going to have to quit carrying it because the one thing I don't want to do to prototypes is sharpen it. So I've got to stop.
Yeah, you definitely need to stop it. Now, I'll tell you, the one that y'all sent me to do that overview on the Raptor?
Raptor XL.
Yeah. Now, see, they made me eat my words, because anybody who's been following my channel knows that my sweet spot is sub 3-inch, and I don't have many 4-inch blades anymore. Every now and again, I'll carry a 3.5-inch, just depending on what I'm wearing. And he sent me the Raptor XL, which is what, 9 inches, L?
Oh yeah, it's like 9 inches, 4.2-inch blade.
So he didn't give me the specs on it besides the length, and he said, "I'm sending this to you." And I was thinking, I was like, "What in the hell are you sending me that for? I can't carry that."
Well, because we knew you'd love it.
Well, yeah, right. Let me finish. So he kind of chuckled about it, and he said, "Well, look, I already sent it anyway. Just if you don't like it, you can send it back to me. Just tell me what you think about it." So I put it in my pocket. When I picked it up, my jaw dropped because it was outstanding of how well they balanced the weight and how much they kept the. What does it weigh, Zell?
Oh geez, that one.
I think it's like 5'3".
Yeah, that one's just over 5, but it's a massive knife.
Well, that's what I was about to say. It's 5'3", but balanced, and 5'3", a knife that's balanced at that weight could feel like 3.5 in the hand when it's open. So pleasantly surprised at the little trickery they pulled on me. And that's one that I think people who like the bigger knives and, light and big, I think that one is going to resonate huge with y'all.
Yeah, we're working through on getting that one made real. The Streak. Harold asked about this guy, and I have a video I did on it. I don't know if I've got it edited yet. I kind of lose track, guys. I'm sorry. I know I should know every video I've ever done, all 500 or 600 of them.
Yeah.
I remember if it's published or not. Yeah, I like those comments on videos from 3 years ago, and whenever somebody's like, and you're like, I don't know. That was 3 years ago, man.
Yeah.
They get all mad at you.
Or like you have a knife sale 3 years ago. Hey, is that still available? I'm like, did you look at the date on that?
But anyhow, Harold and everyone else, if you are looking for the standard WE knife that you can carry every day and beat the snot out of, that comes, I believe this M390. Harold, do you know? 'Cause this is one of those hide and seek games that I'm not qualified to play on this one.
Ooh, I think somebody else said they couldn't find it either.
Well, it may not.
Was you. That was you that said that.
Yeah, we'll get the gap go up here in just a second.
Yeah, whenever we're done with that, I got it ready to go.
Okay, but this is, you had the 703 and the 617, and don't get me wrong, I still love the 617, the big, really 4-inch harpoon blade knife. But for the normal people that aren't me, that's everyone else probably, this is your standard everyday carry knife in, I believe, M390. It's got that standard shape. It's the shape that you're going to see on lots and lots of knives. This shape
resembles the Proxy a little bit.
Well, it resembles a lot of knives. The 0450, 0452 are the ones that come directly to mind. But they're,
like you said, the classic shape.
That have this classic shape that always fits the hand. This fits a medium-large hand really good. But if you have a large hand, you're probably going to be okay. And you get smaller hands, this shape always fits good. And they just did a really good job with it. And this is, in my opinion, WE's best new user knife. And if I were going to buy a knife to carry every day from WE, this would probably be the guy. Actually, I would have a 617, but I've already got one. I'll probably have
Yeah, what I was thinking of the Practic. Then how does it compare in size to the Practic?
It is.
Practic's a little smaller.
Yeah, it's bigger than the Practic, and I don't have a Practic right now, but I was not a huge fan of the Practic as far as ergonomics went. I mean, it made sense in every way, except it just didn't fit my hand good.
Yeah.
And this one fits my hand so much better. And it's, well, the sad thing is, the really sad thing about this knife is WE needs to take this knife, and I forget what the blade length on this is, 3.2, 3.3, something like that. I don't think it's quite 3.5.
Like a 3.5, 4?
Maybe. But yeah, that's what they need to do with this. They need to take this. It is 3.5. They need to take this knife and stretch it out to about 3.8 or 4, and then they need to turn around and make it at 2.95.
Well, that's what you, instead of buying 3D print, you should have bought a knife stretcher.
A knife stretcher, man, that is a good idea.
Sounds like something one of the guys at the plant would have messed with the new guys. Go get the knife stretcher out.
This is the Streak, guys. Yeah, the Practic was a little smaller, and that's one of the things, Oaken, that I'm not a huge fan of the way WE does things. They can't. I wish they would take some of their knives, well, like this Draken. Okay, it's a new integral. Okay, cool. It's a smaller integral, but what people were asking for, not that this isn't a cool knife, because this is a way cool little knife, but what people were asking for was a 702 with thinner blade stock and at 3.5 inches.
Which one's 702?
Yeah, that's the WE's first integral.
Oh, okay. I know which one you're talking about now.
And they kept this one around for quite some time and finally got it out. But And I'm still with those guys. I would like to see that 702 design in the thinner blade stock out this side. But they like to come out with something completely new, which I suppose is okay too. Yeah, that's just me. And hey, you got that Gavco ready?
Yeah.
All right, because I'm blathering on about stuff over here, and I don't need to be.
Just wipe the blade down, and yep, I'm ready to go.
All right, there you go. You're up.
All right, Oaken, I think wanted to see it, huh? Man, I don't know if you were on the stream earlier, but Zell and I both deemed this to be the best mass drop collaboration knife thus far, in our opinion. We both haven't owned the Keen, so we can't talk on that one. But as far as aesthetically, it has more personality, at least in our opinion. I mean, you got, a lot more milling going on in the scales. It has that custom vibe to it. Excellent looking blade. That is just a sexy blade, unless you just don't like clip point style. What would you call that, Zell? A double clip point?
I just call it a clip point. I don't get into all the fancy
leafy
blade shaping. And what I want to say about that thing is, I know Mike. I've handled his knives. I've handled his customs. I've handled the various others that have been made with Michael's permission. And I ordered that one just because it was one of Mike's knives.
Oh, yeah.
Not because I especially wanted it, because I always thought that if I really wanted a Gavco knife, that I would call Mike and say, hey, buddy, can you make me a knife? And the bottom line is, I don't have to call Mike.
Yeah.
Because for $180, I don't know what they did to make this thing so good, or what Mike did in design, but I don't ever say someone hit a grand slam with something, and there are minor little issues with this particular one that Stassa and I have with this design on the side of it, or the design.
But it's not a break. It's not a make or break.
But this is as close to a bases loaded grand slam as you can get.
Now, you know what else I was thinking about too? Okay, at Blade Show, like I said, I handled all of Mike's knives. Love him. Super cool dude. He's gotten so far in such a small amount of time. And now I might get crucified for saying this, but at Blade Show, I handled the CKF spinner, and I handled the Ferrum Forge spinner. And I must say, this knife right here, in my opinion, this knife is nicer than the CKF spinner as far as quality and, I don't know, design look. What do you think, Zell?
Oh, yeah.
And that knife was what, 400 plus?
Okay. Last time I looked at a spinner, I can't talk about what was talked about, but let's just say I didn't buy one.
All right.
And at the time, sometime shortly after that, I was aware that this knife was going to come out. But by that time, I had just decided, since I knew Mike, that I would just get one from him. At some point, I would call him up and say, hey, make me a Zell spec knife, will you? And
yeah.
And well, him and Mastroff, well, they did it on their own. I didn't have to call Mike. I want to show you something here, Stassa.
Shoot.
Oh, well, I was going to. Now I got to rescale.
Why are you doing that? Wait, well, go ahead.
Here we go. This. Oh, what brand is?
I was close. I was somewhat close.
4.04. I would have expected maybe a little heavier. I think I said a little lighter earlier.
Yeah, you said a little lighter. I said 4.3.
And I wasn't taking into account the
thickness.
Thickness, and they have a full back spacer, and they're also running where'd my calipers go? It's probably about 160, 150. They're running 150, or that's actually a little thicker than that. I can't get up to probably 160 for their. I can't really get into it anywhere. It looks like probably 160 for their.
Definitely get. I see what you're saying. I mean, regardless, it's a win.
Oh yeah, this thing. I got a email. Zang or Zong. I can't remember. All I know is he's a nice guy. Email me and tell him I was just freaking blown away by these knives.
I mean, like I said, depending on how it feels, I definitely plan on buying one because I love it. To me, it's very aesthetically pleasing.
Aesthetically pleasing, and it feels good in hand. I can't remember which. It does have a similar look to one of those Browse knives.
The Sniper.
Sniper, that's the one. But here's what I'm going to say about that. There's going to be a bunch of people, oh my God, they copied whoever, they copied blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here's the deal. There are only so many ways that you can... There's only so many ways that you can put a human's hand around a knife. And quite often, we pick on designers and we pick on knife companies because, hey, that looks like something. Just like whenever I did the video on this one, I was almost scared to say it had a similar handle design to the 0452 and 0450.
Yeah, because they would have took that and ran.
Because there's going to be somebody in the comments yell copycat, copycat, copycat. Well, no, this handle design has been around for decades, and it's no different than this or what. Well, here's another good one. There's what Michael Gavick does with his handle to create that blade. Here's what Kershaw does.
Yep.
Hey, it looks a whole lot alike, guys.
Oh, he copied off the Natrix.
So now Michael Gavick copied the. No, he did not.
He's making clones.
He did not.
Yeah, that's how.
All that crap that gets in the comments about that because.
Somebody put on PGR. I reviewed that one as well. I don't know if I posted it yet, but another awesome knife. And once again, that one's made by we as well. The Ferrum Forge Fortis 2.0. And I heard they got some really cool Pro Line or whatever they're calling it models coming out this year. Ferrum Forge guys.
I got to look at the Fortis. I never got to look at the Fortis 2. The last half of last year, I missed a lot of knives.
You didn't check it out in the past round?
No, somehow I thought I put in for it, but somehow I missed it. I know.
That one, the one thing that stood out so well for me, and I'm sure PGR could tell you that too, is to me it had one of the best designed flipper tabs I've seen in a while. Like, there's nothing better than a flipper tab that there's no thought required. You can do it in the dark. You can do it with your hands cold. No matter what, whenever you put your finger anywhere in that area, you're going to flip it out. And, I mean, it flipped hard, and it could have a stiff detent because the flipper's placed so well, it wasn't going to hurt your finger trying to flip it.
Well, that's always good. I guess I need to get a look at one of those. So, Dylan, you got some negative comments about your knife looking like somebody else's. Yeah, well,
there's nothing you can do about it. They're just always going to say that crap.
Here's one of those things. This little guy right here, there is nothing out there that I'm aware of that looks like the Roxy. Stassa, is there anything out there you know of that looks like a Roxy?
Not unless I go and cut it up and make it look like it.
Well, we have got the comments that that Berg blade that you've got. We've got comments about it. We've got comments. about various other small knives that we just.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I mean, the biggest comparison is look at the Buck 110. How many companies have made a knife that looks identical to it, but it's not considered a clone?
Yeah.
Because it's such a classic shape, I don't know. I mean, that's something. I mean, there's really no point in arguing on something like that, because if you don't like the design in the first place, then don't get it. But if you like it, now you're lucky. You got two people making a similar looking design.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. Unless there's blatant ripoffs. I mean, there have been,
Yeah,
and or homages. The homage word just
yeah.
but if people are making independent designs that come up somewhat close to something else, go with it. Make it your own. Make it your own sculpting. Don't freaking do a carbon copy, for God's sake.
Yeah, that's the key. It's the keys in the details, like those little things that you do have the ability to change. It's kind of like, this is another good example right here. You got the Lanny's clip point. There's only so much that you can do. Like, let's just show this. This kind of has a resemblance. This is the Heartland clip, and then this is a Lanny's. Okay, and he threw that recurve in there. Because there's only so many ways you can change that design up. And how many people have designed a Lanny's clip, and a lot of them look a lot alike.
Yes, they do. And it's just, I don't want to get any deeper than that.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think we've harped on it enough.
It just bugs the out of me. And well, I'll just put it this way: whenever people get really ugly about it on this channel, if they push the point, I hide them from the channel. But I'm definitely going to delete the comment if they start getting ugly about it. If they just make a comment about it, fine. But that's.
Oh yeah, that. I mean, we've talked about that many times. I definitely like constructive criticism, and even if they want to tell me I suck in a nice way, that's fine. Just, I don't want the negative bullshit on my channel or for my subscribers. I think we come here to hang out and shoot the shit and talk knives. And when we get a bad apple, I don't really have time for that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think it's fair to any of our guys listening, and not fair to the creators either.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have anything new? This is what me and Zell was telling him. Are any of y'all excited about it? I mean, CRKT has just kind of started catching my attention again. They got some pretty nice designs coming out, and they just hit the market, like the very shocking collaboration, Ken Onion collaboration, Tanto. Have y'all seen that?
I think I have seen the picture, but
it's interesting. It's I mean, just first off, Ken Onion doing a Tanto. I mean, it's not a recurve or a huge nothing but belly. And not only is it a Tanto, it's an aluminum handle, and they got a D2 version, and I forgot what the stainless version is. Slender, lightweight. I almost picked it up, but I picked up the Pilar first. And also, did you see the Eric Oakes designs? I think they went a little too over the top with it, but I mean,
I missed that one.
That it replicates one of his, I think it's Coyote X maybe design, and it's got carbon fiber handles. Like I said, they went a little too over the top. They went with bronze hardware, bronze backspacer, and then they kind of killed me at the 8CR 14 MOV. Just because they starting to use D2, it's like, ouch. Oh, and then Ken Onion designed a mini version of the field strip technology. I was like, wait, we need a mini version? It's going that far?
Whenever those first came out, I ended up with one of those field strip knives, and it's kind of neat and kind of pointless. Sorry, Ken, but
hey, David, your Pilar, the detent just stiff on it, or is it the lack of, or the flipper tab was uncomfortable? Is that the one with bronze? Yeah, the bronze accent one is the Oaks. Yeah, I'm kind of bummed I didn't jump on that one, James. I was gonna, but that collaboration dropped at the same time, I think, as the Thresher, or one of my knives I bought from Master and I couldn't afford both of them, and I knew I was gonna like the Thresher. Yeah, the bronze accent is the one I was talking about, the Oaks design with the carbon fiber. PGR, yeah, I was surprised that Blade HQ wasn't much less. So what being that bench? Oh, okay. What about some of the Benchmade new releases? I'm pretty excited about the Freak and M4, especially if they do the mini version. What about you, Zell?
If they do anything in M4, I'm in.
Well, they did the full size Freak and M4 with G10 scales.
I'll have to get a look at it. I haven't seen it yet. You know, like I said earlier, I've been kind of out of the loop a little bit.
Well, my local shop is supposed to have some, so or they ordered some. So if they get one, I'll pick us one up.
All right. So somebody's asking what we're looking forward to for 2019. Well, I'll just be selfish here. I've got this and two other designs from Todd Knife and Tool that I'm looking forward to seeing the production models of. And I know this is going to be controversial, but Mixed Rider is bringing back the 3/4, and I can't remember what the other one's called. And I'm looking forward to seeing them fleshed
the AR.
out. AR. I'm looking forward to seeing them fleshed out and not just prototypes, because there's some changes in those knives over the regular SMF and SNG that, in my opinion, make them better knives. And I'm just looking forward to seeing what happens there. And the other thing I'm looking forward to is seeing how all these companies shake out.
Yeah. I think you'll see some of them diminish or have to change their plant business model.
Because we're seeing all these companies jumping into the knife game, production companies. And something's got to happen.
Yep. I think the ones that don't just drop out of the game completely, I think those people are going to lean more on the mid-budget stuff, the D2 $50 price points.
Yeah.
That's just my thought.
The $50 price point right now is tough.
But I'm just saying, it's going to depend on what they're selling the most of, you know?
Well, absolutely. But I think you're right, because a lot of them, and I've talked to one company kind of at length about this. They do an M390 or S35VN and titanium, blah, 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 version of nearly all of their knives. But they don't produce a lot of that version. What they do is they step down to an S35 in aluminum or S35 in G10 or D2, and they get that price point between 50 and about 120 bucks. And that's the heart of what they sell. And I think that their little business model is a good one, because they've still got that pie in the sky knife at 200, 300 bucks. Yeah. But there's not as many of them because they don't sell as many of them. And then they have the one that people can get their hands on at that more reasonable price.
Yeah.
The Todd Matassa Mallory collaboration.
Huh?
Raphael.
I heard my last name. I was like, what?
Mallory collaboration. We can make that happen.
Oh, it's gonna see, y'all got to understand, Zell's supposed to be really nice sometime in the near future and move closer to me. And when he does, that's, I think, going to be very likely that it could happen.
Absolutely.
In some way, you know, whether it be in the design or, you know, some aspect of it. we have a lot of similarities when we start talking about certain things we like in a design, and if enough people want to see that, we definitely can make it happen.
Yeah, we just have to make a 3.75 one and a freaking 3 1/4.
Well, we won't even have to make it 3 1/4 if we find something that we like, and it what I like when it comes to the bigger ones. But we always try to aim to bring y'all what y'all want. So, like I said, if enough people want it, that's how it goes. Let's see. Work it out.
Now, wait a minute. If we're doing that, it's cheaper just to go on down to the Bahamas.
Yeah, huh? Let's just do it big. Shit.
And, I found that out. It is cheaper just to go on down, take the plane on down to the Bahamas. So,
yeah. Let's see. Later, David.
Have a good one, David. Appreciate you. And it is midnight Central.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna be getting yelled at here soon. Yeah, you have anything else, topics before we call it a night?
Oh, geez, what do we have? I'm sure I do, but
do you have anything new coming, though?
Do I have anything new coming? I thought I was going to be able to say that, but those QB people have some kind of laser shipping. I think they just materialize in your freaking mailbox.
Yeah, they got it's called teleportation ship.
Okay, because I talked to the guys over at QB night before last, and I go to the mailbox this morning, and poof, they've arrived.
Poof is here. What's up, Bryce? You caught us for another couple minutes.
Mass drop Thresher. We keep talking about that Thresher.
Yeah, he just popped up though. But let's just give him the sharp point. It's a great one.
Yeah, Stassa and I have both marked it as being our favorite of the Mass drop collaborations for last year, and we've talked a lot about it in the stream. Actually, we both know Michael Gavick, and
if he wants to hear the rest of it, he could, after we're done, it'll render up.
Right.
Catch it. Been tempted by the Thresher. Yeah, James. Eventually, if you just give into that temptation, I don't think you'll be disappointed. I promise.
I will tell you out there looking for a Thresher, if it's going to be a user knife, something you're going to use every day, don't get this bamboo looking thing.
Yeah.
Get one of the other ones.
I would think maybe the flat one with the little. Well, I don't know. I don't know.
If I was actually going to carry it every day, I think I would just get the plain flat. Is what I would get.
Yeah, and then I would if I bought another one, I'd get the plain flat and contour it myself on that side if I wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. But
hey, what's up, A? What's up, A Ray? I knew we were missing one of the regulars.
PGR. Yeah, I am. I'm. These companies, whenever and Kubi's no different than BestTech was, no different than Arts and Cutlery was, and many of these other companies. 2 years ago, they were making junk clone knives like Sanrenmu and some of the other companies, and they have watched BestTech and they've watched and they've watched some of the others rise above, raise their profit margin by making good knives, and they're following along. Yep. And we could have a big, long discussion about how production actually works over in Shenzhen, but don't have time for that right now. But the thing is, the people that are doing the production over in Shenzhen have gotten really, really good at getting these knives done right and square and working properly, because each time a new company shows up, the first round of knives that they come up with is better than the first one from the previous company.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what kills me. It's not so much brand or anything like that. It's how much better that area of the world is getting and making these things.
Yeah. And James also asks, is that recommendation because of the comfort of the Thresher scales you have? Yeah, pretty much. If you want more detail, whenever I do the full video on it, I'm gonna get into detail about it. But it's mainly the way, for me, it's the way it's milled, and it's kind of got a couple of little hot spots from the milling.
Yeah, there's some points on it across the backspacer, and there's some points across the handle scale that if you were going to work hard with the knife, it would get to you.
Yeah, like whenever I did the portion of my testing where I do the feather sticking and carving, that pressure I was putting down and kind of twisting, that's the main time I felt it. But other than that, it's not in everyday EDC task, you're not going to feel it.
Yeah, copper matrix. Well, here's the deal. Stassa's wasn't a very good one. And my deal with the copper matrix is mine was actually a good one. Everything works fine on it. Centers up, does what it's supposed to do. It's about size for me, and it's just I don't know. I like small knives, but it just doesn't scratch the itch the way it should. This particular shape of knife, it scratches the itch whenever you get up to the bare knuckle size perfectly, but not at this small size for me.
Yeah, I'm very conflicted about it because, like, for me, I like the size, but I do see what you're saying because it's like, for me, it's almost like a 3 1/4 inch or 3 1/2 inch grip. I mean, not 3 1/2, but 3 1/2 finger grip. And that wouldn't be an issue, kind of like this Berg's, but the thickness. So whenever I did feather sticking with this, it wanted to roll in my hand, so light duty EDC task. Yeah, I think it'd be fine. But I mean, and that's pretty much what it's intended for. Mine is just plagued with some problems, and that sucks. But I usually get that. I mean, both of my Natric and bare knuckles, both of them, I got lemons.
Yeah, what's that pry bar there on your desk? Somebody's asking.
Which the blue, this one?
No, yeah, that one right there.
Yeah, this is another video that I'm working on. I got this pry bar, which is the Knife Guys titanium kit, it's called.
I know why you're still working on that, because it's got
editing
on it, and you had to try it several times, didn't you?
Yep. But well, like this is, this one, the bottle opener on this is perfect. I call this a 1-stage bottle opener, which meaning one pop and it comes off. This is one that I was testing, and look at that crowning, Zell. Look at that.
Oh, that's nice.
And you can see the softness through the video.
I actually like the texture they left in it too.
And then I like how they left the grind lines on that finish. Now, I mean, look, I don't know if you can even see, but this finish is not really phased that much. And when y'all see the video and see what I did with some of these nails and staples, I would think there'd be some gouges in this finish, the anodizing, but it's still looking pretty good. I mean, a little wear at the front tip, but okay. And then this is just another cool concept. This is that Ever Ratchet, where it's got that little leaf spring right here in the titanium that makes it a ratchet wrench. See that?
Yeah, there you go. A little bit further back.
That's just cool. And you just put that in there, and that little leaf spring right there only allows it to go in one direction.
Yeah, that is neat. That's a good idea.
Cool idea. But then on the other end, you see that. Okay, look at the difference in the two bottle openers.
Oh yeah,
and this is called the 2-stage, where that's what I call it, where you pull it up and you got to reposition it again to pop it off. That's it'll work, but it's no fun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's
definitely cool.
I've been looking. In fact, in the one stage bottle opener there, you need to find out the size, the diameter of that thing. Yeah, the diameter of that hole.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't out on us. You ran out of battery, buddy.
Yeah, my battery's dying, so I probably only have like a minute or two, so I'm probably gonna sign off with y'all fellas.
All right, that's good. On for about 2 hours, I think. So
yeah. So good night, everybody. I appreciate all y'all for stopping by, and we'll try to we'll probably get on Instagram the next time, hopefully in the next couple of days or so.
yeah, we'll try to do that Monday or Tuesday, and do a show on Instagram, and then we'll be back here hopefully next weekend on YouTube.
Yep. Sounds like a plan.
And
good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night, everybody. It's been fun, and we really appreciate each and every one of you. Have a good night.